I've built another tool for my drawing practice. This thing right here. It's a stool with really short little legs. This isn't something that I'm going to use at my easel or at my drawing table. It's more for something invisible, something before I start to draw. Also, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. When you pursue a practice as slow as hyperrealism, you're forced to stay still. And in that stillness, you begin to feel the state of your own nervous system more clearly. If there's unresolved conflict, you'll probably start thinking about it. If there's tension in your body that you weren't aware of before, you'll begin to feel it. It can be really subtle. But if you want or need to do something like drawing or painting, either for a hobby or for a living, you need that workspace to be sacred, to be able to slip into a state of flow. And if there's any underlying discomfort in your nervous system, when you finally sit down to create, it becomes harder to let yourself fully settle into the work. I've been feeling this deeply lately. I've been going through a lot of big changes in my life. For those of you who've been seeing things on social media and with closing my print store, there's been a lot of big changes, and my nervous system has been holding a lot of that tension and that weight. And because drawing is also how I sustain my life, I can't afford for it to become a place of overwhelm. If there's too much discomfort, it just becomes less and less efficient and harder for me to spend long periods of time at my drawing table. And so I need a sacrificial anode. That's where this comes in. This is something I learned about recently from Dan. In boat building, to prevent the hull of the boat from rusting, they attach a piece of highly reactive metal to the hull of the boat. And rather than the hull corroding, the metal corrodes instead. It sacrifices itself so that the hull can stay intact. I found that metaphor to be really powerful and really interesting. And so I need a sacrificial anode, a place for my discomfort to be felt, for the thinking to happen, for the stillness to be, so that doesn't all happen when I finally sit down to draw. And I wanted to share that with you. So I've been building a meditation practice to act as that sacrificial anode, a separate time that I've given myself to be still, to breathe, and to watch my thoughts pass by. In The Artist's Way, which is a really incredible book for anyone who wants to pursue a creative career, I highly recommend it. They talk about morning pages, and this is kind of similar to that. Meditation isn't a perfect sacrificial anode. It's not really what it's meant for, but what it also does is it makes me aware of how restless my mind really is. Thoughts start racing, ideas, problems, inspiration, each one presenting itself like something important that I need to grab onto. And while there's often very useful information hidden in there that is very tempting to try and grab onto, the task is simply to let it pass. Most of the time they'll grab me and I'll ride along with them for a little while, and that'll be my world. And then I remember that I'm meant to just be sitting and letting them pass. I try to let the thought continue without me. And then I come back to just breathing. And so the stool is a really crucial part of that practice. The reason why you'd want to use something like this is when you sit for long periods of time, you don't want your muscles doing the work of holding you upright. They fatigue, they ache. Instead, you want your skeleton to carry that weight. That means stacking the spine, letting the shoulders rest back, opening the chest slightly. The pelvis needs to tilt forward so the lower back can find its natural curve. When you sit on the ground, your knees are often higher than your hips, which tilts the pelvis backwards and round to your lower spine. I'm not a physio, so I'm not sure exactly why this is bad for you, but I know that it gets uncomfortable if you sit like this for quite a long time. So the stool needs to lift my hips just enough so my knees can fall below them, creating a stable foundation for the entire spine to balance on. The way that I've been looking at it is that my skeletal structure is, again, that kind of sacrificial anode, although I don't want to sacrifice my skeleton. But the muscular system is something that you're trying to save. It's something that can fatigue in the same way that my drawing practice is something that can fatigue. And I don't want it to be doing the lifting that it doesn't really need to be doing. So much like the meditation practice itself, you want to try and rely on the structures that are designed to do these things or that are better at doing it. So I can't have my head racing when I'm being quiet because I'm drawing, and it's just a byproduct of drawing is that it's a quiet space. In the same way, if I'm sitting for a long period of time and my muscles have to hold me up, they can't be the ones doing the heavy lifting there. So I just thought that was kind of poetic and linked in quite nicely. To accommodate my legs with the stool, I needed to space them apart by 260 millimeters, and the height of the legs needed to be 180 millimeters. I've also added a 5-degree taper because my legs are wider at the knees than they are at the ankles, and also because I like creating unnecessary challenges for myself. Trying to do this stupid 5-degree taper turned out to be way harder than I'd like to admit. This object is simple. It's being built to absorb something invisible, a place for the mind to race, for tension to surface, for the nervous system to slowly settle. It's a sacrificial anode, so that when I sit down to draw, the stillness isn't something that I have to fight for. It's something that's already there. It's been something that I've become more and more aware of in my practice, that the tension that I have in the rest of my life, how deeply that affects the drawings that I'm doing. And because the drawings take so long, I have really struggled to stay there, but this practice has really helped me. I'm not sure how deep to go into like the practice itself, if it's helpful to talk about the different stages of it, like the scans, the breath. There's a lot of apps out there that can help you if you are interested in getting into it. I've got my own system, one that also just includes a little bit of gratitude around the fact that we get to do something like this for a living, which I think is an important ingredient, but I might add that in the Patreon. So also let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to know more about. But yeah, before in this video, I just want to give a huge thank you to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they've played a huge role in my career, not only in helping me maintain this channel by sponsoring these videos, but early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work and make it easy for collectors to find me and get in touch with me. And I didn't have time to learn HTML and to build a beautiful, reliable website. And I found that Squarespace did all of that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use this offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. There we go. I hope that this practice can help some of you. It's become crucial for me. It's especially with how life changes and how hectic things can become, having a place where those things can come to the surface and you can allow them to kind of move on their way. I don't know what I'd do without that. So I hope this is helpful for some of you. As always, thank you for the support, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.